Hola Madridistas, I am Mo. Alongside me is Doris and Farouk, and welcome to another episode of Let's Be Real podcast. And today we had a game against Levante. So I don't know how you guys felt about it, but I was pretty happy about the fact that Levante finally gave us a guard of honor while Atletico did not. So I wonder what you guys thought about that.
Yeah, I think it was very nice actually because previously I was actually mentioning about the fact that we wanted to get that God of Honor at the derby. So like that why actually for me personally I was keen to win before we went to the Wanda actually. But unfortunately they felt what they felt and they decided like I think actually it's a personal choice to be honest, because I feel like it will be hypocritical to come and start making comments when like we also didn't give to Barcelona like I think a couple of seasons back as well. So I think because of that, like I just chose to stand on the fence and be like, okay, like hey, whatever like Simeone or like his team this decides to do. Like he was making the comment that we respect Real Madrid, but we respect our fans even more and stuff like that. But I just felt, it's just something personal. I think it changes from person to person. And yeah, I think maybe you can understand, like if you try to put yourself in their shoes, you can understand how it feels for them, like just your neighbor is like just, I don't know, 500 meters, 1 kilometers away, like coming to your home. And for that, well, it was really nice to see getting that from Levante. It was a good touch.
Before I go to you, Doris, I would just like to point out an interesting fact. The thing is, like, Atletico Madrid in history has had three chances to give Real Madrid a pasillo. On all three chances, they have refused. But they have had three chances to give it to Barcelona, and all three chances they have decided to give it to Barcelona. So I guess there is something that Farouk pointed out. So, but coming to you, Doris, I would like to ask you: do you think this tradition of pasillo should continue in the Spanish game or international game? Because we have even seen it in the Premier League and other competitions. But then Carlo Ancelotti said that they don't do it in Italy. So what are your views on that?
I think it should stay the way it is, and Atletico, if they don't want to give it that's fine for them, because they choose to do it for everyone else, so it's obviously a personal thing. So that's fine. That's on them, but the tradition shouldn't stop because they decide so. And same for Madrid. If they decided not to give it, that's fine. That's their choice. You can't force anyone to make it.
Yeah, I think I generally agree with that sentiment because, like, I can see where you're coming from because PSR shouldn't be something forced. Where respect isn't something that can be forced. But then I sort of understood why Zidane refused to give it to Barcelona, but because Barcelona refused to give it to us first, maybe some people wouldn't be happy about the fact that Zidane didn't give it to Barcelona because I remember Iker Casillas, he was pretty angry about the fact that we did not give them Pasillo when
Yeah.
Barcelona won the title back in 2018. But then Zidane had a point when he said that Barcelona didn't give it to us after the Club World Cup victory. So I understand where he's coming from, but then for me, respect cannot be earned. So probably uh, if they decide to give it, it's good. If they don't decide to give it, nothing can be done.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's come back to today's game against Levante. Like going into the game, what were you guys feeling? Like, what did you expect? And when you saw the lineup, like, what was your expectations?
I actually felt the lineup was quite strong, and I was just like kind of wondering what's because like we saw over the weekend, for example, with Fabinho and Liverpool actually, although like they're still competing for the title, which I think they're no longer actually doing, but like Fabinho got the hamstring injury and now he's ruled out for the next 3 games and potentially maybe a fourth game, which will be the Champions League final. Like that was like kind of the sense of deja vu I was getting, like with Luka Modric being out there, with Karim Benzema being out there, and like literally nothing to play for. Like he's already wrapped up the golden boot and what is and what is not. So I just felt like it was so much, it was so much stress. And like when considering the team you're playing against is just Levante you get. So I felt like it was such a strong lineup. And also I was also expecting Andre Looney in the game to play. But yeah, I felt the lineup was so strong, and given what we have on the line, I was a bit scared that something could happen. But to be honest, fair play to Levante, like they kept it a clean game.
Doris, what do you think? Like, what was the
Yeah,
expectation going in?
same thing. It was a strong team. I expected a game like not like this or like this, but um, all in all, it was a good game. And the squad did what was expected of them and even more.
Okay. So for me,
Especially, Especially there were some people that were new to this squad this week, like Hila and Peter, which was a nice surprise. But also some other youngsters put in a shift, like Vinicius, who was a man of the match tonight.
So, Farouk, in our previous conversations, I think we have touched upon this fact that you aren't completely sold on the youngsters coming out from Castilla. So, I've been a big proponent of Rafa Marin playing for the first team. So,
Yeah.
what do you think about the performances of Mario Hila and Peter Federico, coming off the bench?
Yeah, I think to be honest, like I just feel like we cannot quantify the performances in games like this, to be honest, because like the game had the vibes of like a preseason kind of game, and to be honest, like with all due respect, like Levante wasn't even putting an effort, like to be honest, like so it was just like a walk in the park. So I personally wouldn't read too much into this. I think even from the Kamavinga thing, I think you guys can tell that I'm quite a how can I say, like pessimistic kind of person. Like I don't try to like over gauge or over. I prefer to like just rather than being disappointed, I just remain to like okay, like already I had no expectations. So like with no expectations you can get disappointed. What I'm just saying is that I'm not like playing down Hila, Peter, or the guys, but I'm just saying like I feel like this you can't quantify them based on this. You get the ball. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say, but yeah. So it is just that's my opinion actually.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair point. And
Definitely, yeah.
yeah, and going back to your thing about Courtois and Lunin, for me, it was like I thought that Real Madrid going against Levante, although you think that they're a weak side, especially given the fact that they're last in the table,
Yeah.
but you have to remember the fact that Levante have like you only have one win against them in the last four home games. So I quite understood why Ancelotti went with Courtois, but I'm hoping that he would go with Lunin in the next upcoming game. But then I think you made an interesting point about Camavinga. What did you think about the fact that Camavinga got another start and then he got another yellow card? Why do you think that is? Like, what is this about Camavinga that always whenever he starts he gets yellow cards? Like, I want to hear from both of you, Doris and Farouk.
Actually, so what happened now? I don't know, but I actually noticed this trend with Kamavinga is like for the past couple of games, like he starts the game like so aggressive. Actually, he continues to be aggressive in the game because actually there was a tackle he made, I think, just right after halftime. And like if he had missed the ball, for sure it's a red card. For sure it was a red card. It was kind of like a really, 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 like I
But
wouldn't
that
say
was a good tackle, no?
yeah, exactly. Because you know how it is like with this tackling, like it's like it's either reckless or like it's a fantastic tackle. You get the point. So that's how it was. But like I mean, like he starts the game like so aggressive, and then I think like with time, after he gets the yellow card, then he kind of like starts to control himself even much more better. Like this one thing and something I've noticed from him like over the past like weeks, like he always gets the yellow card eventually. He does get that. But like he just like I feel like after the yellow card, he starts to like get into his own, like I'll use the word mature or something like this. But just before the yellow card, he just feels like, okay, like until I get the card, I am just, in no man's land. I can do whatever I want to do.
Doris, I think he has a very distinctive style. I don't know about tackling, I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, I agree with what he said. He is very clumsy. Every game he gets a yellow, but he has an excuse of being so young and unexperienced or inexperienced. I mean, he will only get better in the future. He has a good teacher in Casemiro, but Casemiro is kind of the opposite. He never gets yellows.
I think that that's a fair point. Even the broadcast I was watching the game on ESPN Plus, and the thing that they referred to is like Casemiro never gets carded. Like he always manages to escape the red card. So the commentator was saying that probably Casemiro walks up to the referees and butters them or something. Well, I always love the fact that Casemiro has the ability to play on the edge without going over the edge. So I
Exactly.
think that's something that we cannot underrate about Casemiro, and that is why he's probably had the career that he has. But then moving on, I think we scored 6 goals today. So discussing each and every one of them is going to be a long process. So to cut it short, I'll probably go with this. Which goals like caught your eye? Which goals were your favorites? So starting with Doris, like I probably know the answer is somehow probably involves Modric. Yes, I will let you start.
Um, well, it has to be that one. Come on, it has to be the first goal. His assist was immaculate. But actually, if I had to choose, it would probably be goal where Benzema gave it to Vinicius to finish it. It's probably that one because in this game where it was 6-0, there was no point, and that was nice to see. Actually, Benzema on that chance, he didn't manage to finish it himself, so he kind of made it a happy ending.
For me, also, I think that goal was pretty nice because the fact is, like, Modric made a brilliant pass to Benzema. I'm guessing that's probably why Doris liked it so much. But the thing is, like, Benzema messes up that opportunity somehow. I don't know if he overplays it or whatever you feel about that. Maybe it was pressure of the fact that Benzema was finally on. If he had scored that, he would have gone past Raul because he's at 323 with Raul currently. So for me, I think the ability to rescue that play was something that stood out. So, but for me, that was all like if somebody had asked me, that was also probably gonna be my answer for the best goal. So, Farouk, which goal apart from this one do you
Okay,
like? Which
so
goal or goals?
okay, so I will actually pick two goals. So I would say like the Benzema goal, actually, just because of what you just mentioned now, like the gravity of the goal, the importance of the goal, like equaling the 323 number. I think if I'm not mistaken, right, it's 323. Yeah, the number from Raul, like I think it was a very, very huge achievement for Benzema. It's like this is the person who Mourinho says like he wants to go hunting with a lion and he's been given a cat, if I'm not mistaken. Like that was the comment he made, right? So like I mean, like look at where that is and where this is now, and you understand. And so it's I think really like we cannot just give enough credit to Benzema, to be honest. Like I feel like although he's getting the credit right now, I still feel like he's still really, really underrated, to be honest.
Ballon d'Or, huh?
Oh yeah, hopefully let's see what happens, man, to be honest, because I'm not as sold as everyone is on that, because these people are really, really like, because the thing is, like, to be honest, like not everyone watches La Liga a lot. And when you see how these people vote, like you really see how much bias like a lot of journalists are, especially like when you come from like journalists from even far away countries, like for example journalists in Africa and stuff like that, that literally don't watch La Liga, and they just watch the Premier League, and it's just what they just see is just the blonde Kevin De Bruyne, or like the curly hair Salah, or Senegalese Mane. That's the only people they know. That's the thing. Anyways, back to our point. So for me, this my main goal will be actually the Rodrigo goal. And the reason, actually, I think we discussed this last week or the preceding week. Like we were talking about the fact that what's the difference between Vinicius and Rodrigo. And actually, I feel like that goal epitomized the difference, because you could see like it was like a run in between the defenders, like a mazy run to get onto the end of a Luka Modric pass. And that was like, a typical like poacher's goal. Like it was a goal with the instinct of a striker. So I feel like that was really, for me, it was nice, the running from out of nowhere to get onto the end of the ball. So I feel like for me that the Rodrigo goal was the goal for me.
It's funny that you bring up that goal because that was one of my favorite goals as well. But the thing is, like, yesterday or today, I was reading an article on the subreddit, and it was like Rodrigo should be Benzema's substitute going to the next season. So you probably wanted to highlight the fact that Rodrigo has this poacher's instinct.
Exactly.
But do you really think, like, both of you, do you guys really think that Rodrigo has what it takes to be a center forward, to be somebody who leads line? Because for me, I think if Kylian Mbappe somehow comes to Real Madrid, so I think he should be the center forward and not Rodrigo, because for me he doesn't have that ability to hold up the play, and he doesn't have that center forward movement.
So
For me,
that's the point, actually. Sorry for interrupting.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
The thing is that actually, when I was actually, I didn't read the article on the sub, but actually, when I talked about the poachers instinct, that was what came from my. Actually, I was thinking like, if we do get Kylian Mbappe, hopefully we do. Like the thing is that you can see like the way, for example, with the way Pep is playing, or the way like even Klopp is playing right now without a central striker. Like Mane is the striker, or for them it's either Foden or like what's it called, Raheem Sterling. Like as you can see, like these guys have statues which are very similar to what Rodrigo looks like, and also like they don't hold up the play like the typical center forward does. You get the play, so it's not like more of like they're a false nine, and they just occupy the defenders, and what is and what is not. So yeah, I feel like, to be honest, like Rodrigo can be that, but albeit offering you a different kind of, proposition toward a striker, like toward a traditional striker like Karim Benzema and others will offer you.
Just to play a devil's advocate, you made a good point, but the thing is, like, for me, looking back, especially going back to the game against Barcelona in the Clasico, I think Real Madrid really suffered from lacking somebody who would be a central reference. So
Luka Modric played as a number 9, man. That's not the same thing.
Okay, Luka Modric played as a false 9, but then for me, that was something that highlighted the fact that maybe this Real Madrid is not ready to play without a reference point in the attack. I wonder what you think about this, Doris.
Well, in my opinion, Rodrigo is just not a striker, and will be ways to use him there. And just to say, you mentioned how there are teams that play without a striker or a center forward. I think he would much rather fit that kind of system than be a perfect striker for Madrid. I don't think he would fit that role very well. He's not big enough, let's say, that his physique is not. I'm not saying that there are not any short and small like players, but I don't think that that's the role for him, and it would be a waste to use him in the center.
So Farouk, I think both me and Doris, we have doubts about Real Madrid playing without a central reference point. Like, do you think Real Madrid has what it takes to play without a central reference?
So that's the point, actually. The thing is that currently in the system we have right now, it wouldn't work. You understand? But I feel like with the introduction of Kylian Mbappe, and hopefully when Camavinga comes of age, I think that might be a possibility, actually. To be honest, I feel like that's something that can happen with this team, because I feel like while I can agree with Doris's point about the fact that the physicality of aspect of that is not there, but I feel that's one of the advantages that are like in the physicality, like what the trickery, you understand, how many center backs can run as fast as Rodrigo can. So you lose something, but you gain something else as well, you understand? So how many center forwards are as fast as Rodrigo is as well, you understand? So like when you imagine those, the matchups of what it looks like, the trickery and all that. So I feel like, yeah, it can also be something, but I said, like, I'll get in a different system. For our current system, I agree with you guys that it wouldn't work. But yeah, like by exploring other systems, that's a possibility as well.
I think you made a good point about the fact that when Camavinga comes of age. So talking about players coming of age, I don't know if anybody, any Madrid fan noticed this fact, but Vinicius already had like 21 goals this season to go along with 15 assists.
Assists, yeah.
And there was a funny thing I read on Twitter today. I'm not like, I don't know how you guys would react to that. The thing is, like, somebody said that Vinicius should be ahead of Sadio Mane in the race for Ballon d'Or because, we got going back pure numbers and individual performance. So what do you guys think about the season Vinicius has had so far? What do you guys think about the statement that Vinicius should be ahead of Sadio Mane in the Ballon d'Or race?
How many goals does Mane have?
I'm not exactly sure, but
Mane has 15 Premier League goals. He has 20 in all competitions. 20 or 21, I'm not sure. 20 or 21 in all competitions.
I mean, he won the AFCON. You can. It's just it's a big accomplishment. You can't take that away from him.
For me personally, actually, to be honest, like I feel like we have this personal goal, like to get a West African to win the Ballon d'Or. So I will always choose Mane ahead of Vinicius. But to be honest, like even before you said this, to be honest, I actually feel like the people are really treating Vinicius so unfairly, actually, because a lot of people still have that idea about the fact that just Vinicius is this erratic, full of promise without delivering on what it is. But I just go back to the point is that a lot of this bias and all of these statements come from the fact that people don't actually watch these players week in, week out, So people just tune in on Tuesdays or Wednesdays on the Champions League nights and see what these people do. But to be honest, like I would say like overall form, because I'm someone who watched Liverpool a lot, and I can say to you that for the first 6 months before Mane won the AFCON, he was pure garbage. Ask any Liverpool fan and they know this. He was pure garbage, to be honest. But right now, to be honest, I think maybe he's the most informed player in the Premier League right now, to be honest, but I think when you take a overall for the past 7 months, I think, to be honest, Vinicius has been way ahead of Mane. But as they say, like I wouldn't say like he's a better player than Mane, but I would say based on the form of the period I've said, which is a period which is being used to rank the Ballon d'Or, I would say, to be honest, like, it's a very valid claim for Vinicius to be ahead of Sadio Mane. But then to Doris's point as well, he's won the AFCON, he's won the League Cup as well. Most likely he might win the FA Cup at the weekend as well. So we don't know what's going to happen with the Premier League. So those things come into play as well.
Yeah, for me, I think I raised this point about Sadio Mane being one of the challengers to Karim Benzema before even this chorus started, because right after he won AFCON. Because I think personally, like, people tend to underrate the Africa Cup of Nations, because it comes between this middle of the season and whatever. But things like him winning the AFCON with Senegal was a big thing. So I think he probably, for me, that is the thing that separates him from Vinicius. Because although I think at an individual level, in terms of pure numbers, Vinicius is having a better season than Sadio Mane, just going by the numbers, because I am one of those people that Farouk referred to who don't actually watch Sadio Mane week in and week out. But the thing is, like, given the list of accomplishments that he has, it would be tough to put Vinicius over him. But then I would love for it to be a Real Madrid 1-2 with Benzema being first and Vinicius being second. Well, that's the homer in me. So I guess we have had a pretty good discussion about Vinicius, and probably we need to give kudos to other players as well. What do you guys think about how Jesus Vallejo has stepped up ever since those last 5 minutes against City, and then in the derby, and then today?
I don't know, like, actually, I always have this saying with me, which is the point that no matter how shitty a player is, like, not to say that Vallejo is shitty, but he's not shown us anything actually. Like, if you have a winning system, if you have a system that prospers, if you swap players, you don't even notice the difference anymore. And to be honest, like, that's the thing with Vallejo right now. Like, he's been really good, but actually he came into the team also while the team is in a good patch. So actually I'm kind of like, I also try to stand on the fences to not make a comment about that, because to be honest, like, he's exceeded all what I have thought, To be honest, when you just say to me Vallejo, I just think, okay, like, yeah, let's just play Sunedis even better than what this guy can offer us. You understand? But then, nah, man, he's been colossal, man. He's been really good. To be honest, he's been.
I don't know
really
if I
good.
should be insulted about the fact that you do not consider me to be better than Vallejo, but then, but then Doris, I think Vallejo has been pretty imposing in the games he has played, and he has shown himself to be good aerially. What has your opinion been of Jesus Vallejo?
Yeah, against City, he had like 5 out of 5 aerials won. Um, against City, I came in the second half because I was at school, so I didn't see what happened there. But in this game, he sent some shots out with which he shouldn't have done, but in the end, he played a good game. He showed that he could be a good player one day. He has a potential.
So I think Doris made a good point that he showed that he has potential, and that was the potential why Real Madrid signed him from Zaragoza in the first place. For people who might not know, Jesus Vallejo at 18 is the youngest captain that Real Zaragoza has ever had. And Real Zaragoza is just not any other club in Spain. It's one of the most historic clubs. So, what do you think, Farouk, the future holds for Vallejo? Do you think he probably stays at Madrid and becomes a natural like figure, or do you think he moves on after the season?
Oh, I think Vallejo can get one more season just to, try to prove himself, because the point is, like, whether we like it or not, as you just pointed out, like, he broke out so young, and we try to forget, we mostly forget that he's still quite young, for a center back and all that. So I feel like he can still get one season more at least to just, and let's not forget also he's still, like, he just recovered or from a long-term injury as well, and I think he's had 2 of them, if I'm not mistaken. So I think, and he's like being on loan at different places, the be it Wolves, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the other one was Granada as well, and they've not been very fruitful outings. So I think a bit of stability would help him, like, spending the whole 2 years, in the same place, training with the same group of people, same group of players. So I think that stability at least will let him get back to being close to his best. And at worst case scenario, he can be the first option of the bench.
Yeah, but for me, the thing is, like, Rudiger is coming back. Rudiger has signed for Real Madrid. So the thing is, like, next season we could be in a situation where we have 5 center backs. So I'm not sure if Real Madrid needs 5 center backs, especially when we are going with a back four most likely. So
But
for
then
me,
I think personally the issue now becomes is like most likely Marcelo leaves and maybe you don't get a backup for Marcelo, and you have Nacho subbing for Danny Carvajal as well, and then also we have the Lord as well. So the Lord also subs for Carvajal. So yeah, I think maybe that might not necessarily be the point that you have 5, 6 center backs. It might just be more about the fact that okay, you have 3 main center backs and you have just 2 versatile players who can just play across whatever it is that needs to be played across. So this
I
can
think that
also
would be a
be
good fact, but then we also have to remember that there's a good chance that Fran Garcia returns to Real Madrid next season because of the season that he has had with Rayo. Like
yeah,
not
that's
just
true.
season, last 2 seasons he had with
Yeah,
Rayo.
yeah,
So
that's
I
true
think
too.
there's a good chance that he returns.
That's
Talking
true.
about Rayo, I think we have to talk about how other La Liga teams have done this season, and probably the best place to start would be right across Madrid in at Atleti. Atletico at one point, at the start of the season, we had this thing that Atletico are going to be title challengers. Most pundits thought that they would be the favorites. They were coming in on the back of a title win. So, like, what has gone wrong for them in your opinion? Like, I would love to hear from you guys.
Like for me, I think they're the biggest disappointment of the season actually because I expected so much from them, to be honest. But then I get the thing now becomes just like the pressure is now because the thing with Atleti is that like they're so used to being the underdogs that like right now they are now like the main dogs, the top dogs. It's now kind of difficult for them because at this point in time, then you're now being expected to win games and dominate games and get possession and what is now. You understand? Because for me, like for whatever reason, like I just can't shake off the idea of Atleti from 2014 in my head. Like Atleti literally goes to play Levante and they still camp in their home, and just get a goal of the what's he called, Diego Costa, and it was game over. So that was just it. Even till now, I still just can't shake that off my head. So like when you now see like with the Matthias Cunhas and the João Felix, Thomas Lamars, like now you have more flair players. These are players that costs much more than even Premier League teams can afford, man. Like these are like big name players. Like this is a team that cost a lot of money. You understand? So now the pressure is on them. The onus is on them to attack and make something happen. So I think for that, like because as Diego Simeone, I haven't watched him, but like based on what we've heard, like this is the kind of person he is. Like even as a player, even as a coach, he made his name like this. Like he is a person who just creates a siege mentality. It's us against them, whatever it is, by hook or crook, we get over the line. So I feel like, but now the pressure is getting to them. The fact that now there's no such thing as by hook or crook. You just have to win. Like you are expected to win. It's no longer like if you win, yeah, it's a good thing. If you draw, no one cares. Like we're in the era where people get 90 points and 100 points. So a draw seems like something. And also the thing now becomes like people always say this, but I think it's not true actually. People just try to talk about like the conflict of playing styles. But to be honest, I really don't buy that much. I feel like as a professional footballer, like it doesn't really matter what's happening. You should be able to conform to a certain team. If you can conform to this, then I'm sorry, then there is a problem with you. Except if you're a Messi or a Cristiano, then okay, yeah, we can forgive you. But because you're a Thomas Samar or João Felix, like if you can conform to the demands of your coach, then what's the point of being a professional footballer actually? Yeah, so for me, Atleti were the biggest disappointment actually.
I think that was a quite comprehensive review of the Atleti season. But then, Doris, do you have anything to add to what Farouk said?
Um, I agree with everything you said about Atletico. I would like to add Sevilla to this because I think they had a really good start this season. They were title contenders for quite a while, and something happened to them. It was injuries, a lot of that, but something happened to them mentally, and they just collapsed at the end. Currently, they're just 1 point behind Atletico, but and they will probably finish top four, but still they should have been second this year, in my opinion, with how they started the season.
Yeah, I think that's a good point Doris raised about Sevilla. Uh, I think at one point, the way Julian Lopetegui was coaching and them and the defense they had in Diego Carlos and Jules Koundé was something that was like the talk of Europe. And Lopetegui, if I remember, was even linked with the Man United job to succeed, the interim boss in, Ralf Ragnick. So how do you think this collapse affects Sevilla, and how it affects Julian Lopetegui? and his stock are across Europe, in your opinion, Farouk?
Oh, I think actually the thing is that like I think across Europe, like I think Lopetegui is still quite respected. And in all honesty, to be honest, like I think we all felt, like in that at the back of our mind, even though we choose not to admit it, that like Sevilla were just pretenders rather than contenders in a kind of sense, like because the point is like yeah, as Doris pointed out, like they're like a couple of injuries away from going all down. And I think what happened also was that with the, I think if I'm not mistaken, they got like Jesus Corona and Tony Martial in the winter transfer, right?
Yeah,
But unfortunately,
and Martial.
yeah. So I think, I think so far like Martial hasn't lived up to the hype. So because they actually expected Martial, the change of surroundings and everything, to do something for him. But I think rather than affecting Lopetegui itself, I think it just affects the I would say like the credibility of La Liga being a 2-team or 3-team league, in the sense that like you have just pretenders. Like there's no such thing as Sevilla cannot be considered as a contender, because that eventually, even if you have one game left, even if you have 5 games left, you're still at the back of your mind, although you not admit it openly, that you're still expecting them to crumble under the pressure of this. Because the point is like, when was the last time they went all the way? So yeah. Well, if I think if it was more of an Atleti or a Barca that were in the race, just that know-how, the process knowledge actually would have helped them out actually. Yeah. So I think it's more of a dent for Sevilla and La Liga as a whole, rather than for Lopetegui as a coach.
Okay, I think that's an interesting point, and I think probably going back to last time that Sevilla were actually in the title race was probably when they came the closest was the season when we won under, I think it was Boer Schuster, and we won it on was it Schuster or Capello? I don't exactly remember, but we won on the head-to-head against Barcelona. I think that was the season that Sevilla came the closest. But then I think we have to talk about the team that took over from Sevilla as the principal primary title challengers, if you could call them that, and that's Barcelona. So Doris, like I'll probably start with you and then go to Farouk. What did you think about how Barcelona started the season and then how they recovered after Xavi came?
Well, according to some Reddit guy and his spreadsheet, they can still win this league. I mean, they still have a chance, guys.
Yeah, I will take whatever he's smoking and whatever he's smoking that on. I just want a piece of that.
But yeah, seriousness, any team that will lose Messi after spending practically his whole career there, and every team being built around him, it was expected for them to have a rough start. But in the end, when Xavi came in, you could say they did a good job for a while. I'm gonna get over myself and say that. For a while, they looked scary, I would say, but yeah, they lived on a high of beating us 4-0, and I think that really got to their heads. I have no other explanation for that situation. What else, man?
Well, I think you
What
pointed
else?
out to a good fact that there was a while where Barcelona were like they were scary because they had this period where they beat Bilbao, Atletico Madrid, and even us by 4 goals. So they were just racking up 4 goals against everybody pretty much. So I think Xavi did a good job coming in. I wonder what you think about Xavi Farouk and his managerial achievements so far. Although
Actually,
he probably has
I
many
think
stuff.
there was I think we actually discussed Xavi before he came on. And if I'm not mistaken, I think like Sunaid was like the next comment of Ole and what is and what is not. And I was saying, like, to be honest, like what you can see what Xavi had done at
Just to
Sad.
stop you for a moment, I think we're taking a lot of shots on Sunet today, and
Nah.
Sunet's beloved Arsenal also lost today, so I don't think it's going to be a good day for him. So probably.
Arsenal are garbage human beings, man. Anyways, it is what it is. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So just the thing was, with in Qatar at Sad, like he actually had a team who actually played like some nice football. Actually, to be honest, so I think credit should be given where it's due, as Doris pointed out. Even with your Madrid stars as well, like we just need to give credit where it's due. Like, to be honest, like he's done something really nice. Like I think when he came, they were ninth. I'm not sure if I'm mistaken or something like that. and like he got them to second. And as you said, like there was this spell where like they had Bilbao, Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, and it was just all 4-4-4-4, you know. Yeah, and it was that period where like they were like in the quarterfinals of the Europa and what is not, like they eliminated Galatasaray, and you know. So yeah, to be honest, they had that spell. I think it was a 15-game run or something like that. I can't recall the numbers exactly. Yeah, so to be honest, you have to give credit where it's due. But I think, yeah, I will just use the same word I used for Sevilla actually. For me, I just felt like they were always pretenders, you know, like even though after the 4, you know, after the 4 and with the games in hand they had and what is and what is not. So for me, I just felt like it was just more of, because we worked so hard in the first half of the season to build up this point gap, yeah. So the point is that, yeah, you're gonna have hiccups here and there. So I just felt like it was a matter of when we win the league, if not if. So yeah, for me, they were just like pretenders. But to be honest, yeah, Xavi Hernandez has done a fantastic job for Barcelona. So yeah, let's see if he can carry it on to the next season. And because the point is, it's not easy like competing in this is European football, and it's quite hectic, and you never can tell what's gonna happen. And with what we're hearing about them also like willing to dismantle the team again, so yeah, I don't know what's gonna be like.
Yeah, I think we have to give credit to Xavi because he stood against the management, and he played Ousmane Dembele when Ousmane Dembele wasn't agreeing to a contract renewal. I think Ousmane Dembele has been a key player for them, and for somehow Ousmane Dembele, I think, has become the leading assist maker in La Liga currently, having played 10 games less than Karim Benzema. The thing is, like, what do you think the future holds for Ousmane Dembele, because he's running out of contract? And then the other guy, the other rumor that has emerged, one you referred to as well, Farouk, is the fact that they're willing to sell Frenkie de Jong to United. I don't know, for 80 million, because that's something that Barcelona fans probably don't like to hear, but they have pretty bad finances. So I wonder what you guys think, like from a Madridista perspective, about Frenkie de Jong as a player, and how do you guys think it would impact him to leave Barcelona? How it impacts Barcelona if he leaves, and where do you think he should end up?
Yeah, so I would say this. For me personally, I feel like so we didn't see a lot. Personally, I didn't see a lot of Ajax outside of the Champions League. I think it was in 2018. So and then also I haven't seen Barcelona play actually, to be honest, except for in the high-profile matches. So I can't really say anything. So I feel like the Jong we've seen at Ajax and the one we've seen at Barcelona, actually, they are two different players. Like Frenkie de Jong, I would say, in my opinion, hasn't lived up to the expectations. So I think like Barcelona, I feel like this is a time to cut the losses, right, and give him a new contract. So like the point is, and now with Ten Hag going to United and literally United having no midfield, so like you feel like he's a prime player for Erik Ten Hag to purchase. And even if not that, like a lot of teams will look for midfielders to purchase. Like even in, I think even Juventus will be out, even Inter will be out for looking to look for midfielders as well. So I feel like, and as you just pointed out, the finances being bad. So he's one of the players where you have like, these are players with very high stock, and then you also consider that you're going on with you're having the emergence of younger players like Pedri, Gavi, so with those players you feel like, okay, these players are actually living up to the hype and they're showing they can do this week in, week out. So maybe for that you just feel like, okay, yeah, we can cut our losses, not cut our losses exactly, but we can at least make some money off of this guy. And regarding to the second part of your question with Ousmane Dembele, actually, for me personally, I feel like Dembele is someone who I've always like rated very highly, to be honest. But I just feel like even at Dortmund, like you could always see like there was that level of, how should I say, unprofessionalism, or like let's not say like unprofessionalism, but like that level of not that dedicated of a player. You understand? He's a player, he's a good player, but like he just like he's comfortable being where he is, and he doesn't like want to push himself to get to the next level. So I think if you can find a coach who can like provide him with that motivation, like I feel he's gonna be a world beater, man. A very, very good player indeed.
So I think if I was a biased Madridista troll on Twitter, something that I would say about Frenkie de Jong is the fact that he made a career out of the fact that he had one play where he made Modric fall or whatever. So I don't really. I want to ask you, Doris, as a resident Modric fan, like, what do you think about Frenkie de Jong?
Modric fan. Is that all I am to you? Is that all I am? I'm a.
Okay, I apologize.
I'm a Modric supporter. I'm not a fanboy. I'm kidding. Yeah, he didn't live up to his potential. We watched him in Ajax, and he was different kid. I mean, not a different kid. He's just that he's like someone turned the volume down on him. Like someone just like cut the power off him. Frankie De Jong, and I think that either choice, staying in Barca and United, is a good choice for him, because either path is a right path in my opinion. He can still build something in Barcelona, but also United would really suit him, and they need him, so he would feel needed in that team.
Yeah, I agree. I think especially with Erik ten Hag taking over at United, he's somebody who has gotten the best out of Frankie De Jong previously, and then you also bring him together with his partner in crime in Donny van de Beek, who after the terrible season that Everton is having, second half of the season that Everton is having, he probably could reinvent himself alongside Frankie De Jong again. But then going from one player who could move to Manchester to another player who has moved to Manchester, and he was a big transfer target for Real Madrid. And like we all have to agree, like just to set the stage, I think Erling Haaland was one player I wanted Real Madrid to sign, not just because I think we're gonna need a striker in the future, but because I also think he's gonna be one of the best players in the world. To set the mood, like I think City have paid like 60 million euros for Erling Haaland. In addition, they have paid 40 million euros in agent fees, and there have been rumors that we will refer to a little bit later. But what do you guys think about Erling Haaland, the whole transfer, and do you guys think that Real Madrid missed out?
Yeah, I personally think Real missed out. Well, I think Haaland has done the best possible thing for Haaland. He's gone to a team that has literally no striker, so he just slots into the machine, and hopefully, for me, actually, I would have a bit of doubts, about the suitability for the Premier League and the physicality of the Premier League. I don't know how it is, because what I've seen from him is that he's someone who likes to exploit space and all that. But so I wouldn't say I have seen a lot of him, to be honest. So I wouldn't just make a general and ignorant claim. But this is what I have seen from the limited thing I've seen, and the thing that isn't there in the Premier League is the space. And also, how does it suit the Guardiola style as well? Because Guardiola style literally stifles the individuality, except if you're Messi, obviously. But yeah, it stifles individuality, and I don't know how Haaland is gonna adapt to that. But I think he's chosen the best possible option for him, which is just to go to, because if he comes to Real, you have to compete with maybe Mbappe and I don't know Benzema, and even to a lesser extent Vinicius Jr. as well. But he goes there and he's just he's the man. Because the other person in the team is Kevin De Bruyne, and they play two different positions, and so yeah, as I said, he's the main man down there.
Doris, coming to you, I think there have been suggestions about okay, fine. I'll just put a different question first. Do you think Pep Guardiola has what it takes to maybe mold brilliant strikers? Because in the past he has had issues with Samuel Eto'o. He's even had issues with Sergio Aguero, and having issues with Zlatan Ibrahimovic is nothing surprising, because Zlatan is like a total different character. So, do you think that Pep Guardiola has what it takes to mold brilliant strikers? And with that, do you think Haaland made the right decision?
I don't know about Pep. I'm not sure about that. Mostly because New Year, new Pep. It seems he likes to strategize his seasons, and I'm sure he will spend a lot of time thinking this over, like he always does. Like you said, Haaland fits right in. They don't have a striker. They need a striker. He fits right in. But what I'm curious about is Benzema will play maybe 2 more years at this level at least, and Haaland will not leave City in probably next 4 or 5 years. I doubt he will. And I'm mostly curious what we will do in the meantime, in those 2 or 3 years. I guess we'll have to see if we even get Mbappe, because if we don't, I think the next season will be a different story. Maybe not next season, but the season
This season
after
afterwards.
that.
Yeah.
So I think just referring to Doris's point about Haaland being at City for 4 to 5 years at least, rumors today have appeared in, as rumors do in the media that Erling Haaland has a release clause. I think even James Tucker of the Telegraph confirmed it, although the journalists close to City have not still confirmed it. Do you guys think there's any chance of Erling Haaland coming to Real Madrid in like 2 years? First of all, do you even believe that rumors of the release clause are true?
I think the only way that happens is if we get a Lukaku situation and then we get a shot at Haaland. But I think that Haaland is just too good, and his mentality is just too good to fail there. Everything is set out for him there.
Farouk, what do you think?
Actually, I choose not to believe the release clause thing, and also on the other hand as well, like I feel like because the point is like I don't think you can like power, like you can corner the likes of Man City like into like, whether you like to admit or not, like these are the big players like in the European leagues. I don't think you can corner them like into giving you a release clause. And while like Mino Raiola, may so rest in peace, was a very good negotiator, I feel like that's just too much of a stretch even for him as well. Like I feel like that, I think maybe like what can be is like, okay, they can say like after a certain period of time we can like renegotiate like a gentleman's agreement maybe, but not a release clause, something like this. But yeah, I feel like as Doris said, like really to be honest, I feel everything is actually in place for Erling Haaland to shine at City. You get the point. So I feel like it will be so early for us to kind of make the
just to intercept. So do you like? So you are a big proponent of the fact that do you disagree with this theory that Pep Guardiola is not good with strikers?
To be honest, like Sergio Kun scored a lot of goals for him. David Villa scored a lot of goals for him. So I wouldn't say, and even to some extent, he won the treble with Thierry Henry and Samuel Eto'o in the same team. So yeah, I wouldn't say. I say
but there were some issues with Samuel Eto'o and Pep
yeah,
Guardiola, and
he has
David
issues
Villa
with Eto'o.
wasn't exactly playing as a striker. He was playing out wide, and yeah.
So I just feel like yeah, I don't know, man. Like on the other hand, you look at Robert Lewandowski as well, and like he literally came into himself, with Guardiola as well. So I feel like maybe that's far-fetched or not, but I don't know. Like, but you're right as well. Like the sample size is so large that you cannot ignore the signs. But yeah, I can get what you're saying. But I would choose just to remain on the fences because like I've seen like really like Sergio Aguero was like a very good player. But like after like he had the issues with Pep where he was on the bench and Pep was playing without strikers and Gabriel Jesus was coming in January and what is not. After that, like Sergio Kun went to a different level, man. Like he was a deal. Like he asked a lot from his players. That's the thing. So I don't know how Haaland will conform to that or like that. But I feel like the point is that Pep is in charge at City. So if he's pursuing Haaland, like he's saying that there's a possibility to get something there. And we can see like for the Eto'o Zlatan thing, he was like he had a falling out with Samuel Eto'o and he just wanted to get Samuel Eto'o out of the team. And then the opportunity arose to make an exchange with Inter Milan, and they got even a more enigmatic striker. So that's why I think for Haaland, he's quite young and he doesn't have the pedigrees of the Samuel Eto'os and the Zlatan Ibrahimovic still. So I feel like he will be more open to being molded into what Pep eventually wants. But yeah, I don't know, man. Let's just see how it goes.
I would just say that it's a treat hearing what Eto'o and Ibrahimovic have to say about Pep Guardiola sometimes, because Pep Guardiola is like Pep Guardiola. But the thing is, like for me personally, I wasn't surprised when Haaland went to City, because I think it fits into the mold of what he wants. Because when he was moving to Salzburg, he had an offer from Juventus, and he decided that no, I'm not going to go to Juventus because I'm probably going to get more playtime at Salzburg. And then when he left Salzburg, he moved to Dortmund because Dortmund gave him a release clause and the freedom of deciding how his career went. So I wasn't surprised he went to City, because personally I think there's no way Real Madrid would accept a release clause. Although there have been rumors that whoever would have signed Haaland would have probably had to give him a release clause. So for me, I am somewhere on the fence like you guys are about the release clause. But then I wasn't surprised that Haaland chose to go to City. Although I am a little bit, I'm a little bit suspect on how Guardiola handles him. And then the fact is that at the end of the day, Karim Benzema is going to be here for the next season. He's probably going to be here for the other season after as well, because Real Madrid are extending his contract, and right now Karim Benzema is the best striker in the world. He's probably the best player in the world. So coming and fighting against Benzema is foolish. So for me, I understood why he went to City. So do you guys have any closing thoughts before we finish this episode?
What are your thoughts on Mbappe being in Madrid and Pochettino being the manager of Bilbao next season?
For me, I don't know how to react about uh, Pochettino going to Bilbao, because I think they have a good coach in Marcelino, although his contract is expiring. But then the thing about Pochettino is like he builds his team in his own image. He likes to get young players, but then you have to wonder how much of that they can do with Bilbao, because Bilbao has this policy of signing only Basque players. About Mbappe, I'll probably leave it to Farouk, because I have gotten a lot of hate about my comments on that.
To be honest, I am just I also wouldn't make a lot of comments on Mbappe as well. But based on what I said, what was reported was that it wasn't just Kylian who was in Madrid, like the whole Paris team were, like, not a whole, but a lot of Paris colleagues, a lot of his colleagues at Paris were also in Madrid actually. So I think there was like a European Club Association meeting in Madrid, I think. So
Yeah, it was that as well.
Yeah, there was that as also, like even the El Khalifi and this guy were there as well, I guess, right? So, because Madrid has been kicked out of that. So yeah.
Yeah, I like how you refer to Leonardo as this guy. So
yeah, so that's that as also. I don't think for me, I'm just waiting to see what happens with Kylian, because I think I am together with Mo on this, that like not until we have the confirmation that tells us that Kylian is here, like literally anything can happen. That's
Comunicado oficial.
Like literally anything can happen. Like and they also are saying this because like they haven't made any decision yet. So like I think let's not jump to conclusions. Anyways, actually, I was while I was watching the game and like Benzema, I called Raul, and actually something just came to me, like, how good would you guys rate the 2009 transfer window in the summer? The summer of Kaká, Alonso, Ronaldo, Benzema, Albiol, Arbeloa, and although we had
for me, the thing is, like, that window is probably the best transfer window I have seen as a fan at Real Madrid, because when that window happened, we did not realize the magnitude of it, because they got Kaká, then they got Cristiano. I still remember where I was when they announced that Cristiano Ronaldo had been signed by Real Madrid. I was sitting. I was in India at that time, and it appeared on Indian News TV. So that's a big thing, because at that time Indian News TV did not cover football. To see Real Madrid have agreed a deal with Manchester United to sign Cristiano Ronaldo just shows you what impact that transfer had all over the world. And then you sign, you go on to sign Xabi Alonso, who in my opinion is one of the best defensive midfielders of all time. And then you get Karim Benzema. Karim Benzema was one of my favorite players. He still is one of my favorite players, probably the most favorite player. And the thing is, like, but even I did not expect that he would reach this level and equal Raul, and hopefully overtake Raul in the next few games. So for me, it's going to be difficult to equal this transfer window like anytime soon, and probably I think this transfer window is something that can never be pulled off again in the future.
What about you, Doris? What do you think about that window?
For this window, I think only time will tell if Mr. Mbappe comes. I think only time will tell if this will be the best window for us. But about the 2009 one, a lot of people, I see a lot of people criticize Madrid for spending so much money and buying celebrities and buying the best players. So that criticism will probably come again. Hopefully will come again. But we can't deny how important that window for us was. Maybe Kaká was a bit of a disappointment from my memory, but everyone else was a legend.
Actually, that's the thing. Like, you look at that window and as Doris rightly pointed out, I think, like, you can only point that Ricardo Kaká was the only person who actually also, because in the same window also, like, we brought back Alvaro Negredo as well. and I think he didn't play even before he was sold again eventually, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
he came back and then he went back to he joined Sevilla.
Exactly, yeah. So that's the thing. So, but you can imagine, like, like you look at the likes of Raul Albiol, like he was, he was a very good complementary defender to Pepe and Ramos. You look like Arbeloa, and Arbeloa really was, also in his prime as well. And we even need not to say anything about Xavi Alonso. And then you go on to the likes of Ronaldo and Karim Benzema. And like right now, you look at the number 1 and the number 2 top scorers, and it's it's Ronaldo and Karim Benzema. Like, you just imagine, like, how much of that, you lay the foundation for the next 10-15 years, by just spending about more than 200 million euros in a single summer. Like, it was, yeah, man, that window was really, really monumental. And it was actually, the thing is this now. So actually, why I actually thought was that now you can compare that to the summer where we got the Jovic's and the Ferland Mendy's and so on and so forth. You get the point? So you can compare and contrast that window, and you can see the impacts these players actually had. And then you can imagine now that the only player you can say is impactful in the team is actually Ferland Mendy. And I don't know, it just seems so interesting, actually.
I think
That
Militao
is true,
and
yeah.
Rodrigo
That is
also
very
came.
true.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, I think that was the first. Actually, when we talk about 2009 window, the first thing comparison that might comes into my mind is the 2019 window. But then we should not forget that although Hazard and Jovic were disappointments, we also got Militao and we also got Rodrigo and we also got Ferland Mendy. I think three of them, like at least 3 of them, have proven out to be critical components of Real Madrid. And I
But
think
didn't we get Rodrigo 1 year before that? I thought we got Rodrigo 1 year before that.
And
like, we
Rodrigo
bought him.
We bought Rodrigo and Militao both before the window started, but that was the season. That was the window when they came and joined Real Madrid.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, I think that's also something to look into. But yeah, it cannot be denied that Eden Hazard and Luka, with Eden Hazard, he's been injured, and I have sympathies for him. But with Luka Jovic, I think it was a failure of scouting from Real Madrid, and I totally, I am very disappointed with how this transfer turned out for Real Madrid.
Yeah, definitely.
And Mariano, yes.
I mean, Mariano was in 2018, right?
No, I'm just, he has to be mentioned with the famous Jovic and Hazard. He has to be in there, no matter the window.
But then I think at the end of the day, right now, I think Karim Benzema is Karim Benzema. He's carrying the team. He's being the player that Eden Hazard expected to be. So I think we should just be happy about the fact that Karim Benzema is probably going to win Ballon d'Or. So
Hopefully,
if you guys have nothing else to add, I think this is how we end the show today. Hala Madrid.
Hala Madrid.
Hala Madrid.